7.4, solving multiplication and division equations. Everybody should be on page 333. All right, page 333. Example 1. In example 1, we're solving a multiplication equation. So if I had 3x equals 36, what operation is connected to my variable?
Multiplication.
Class, what is it? It's multiplication, right? So, again, just like we learned yesterday, I have to do the inverse operation to get my variable by itself. All right, so we have 3x. The inverse operation would be to divide by 3. Whatever I do to one side, I must do to the other. And x equals 12. Okay? All right, let's do another one. What if we had negative 2a equals 24? What operation is connected to our variable?
Division. I mean, not division, but addition.
No. What operation is connected to our variable here? Negative 2a. Multiplication, right? Okay, but now we have a negative involved. So the question is, do we divide by 2 or negative 2?
Negative 2.
We need to take the negative with us to the other side because we never want to end up with a negative variable. So divide both sides by negative 2 and a equals negative 12. Because 24 divided by 2 is 12. A equals negative 12. And now how could I check it? How could I check this? We don't have room on the whiteboard to do it, but how could I write this? Kiani?
Like, you look at your negative signs, and since it's, they're both the even number amount, it's going to be positive.
Okay. Well, I need to substitute negative 12 back in for a. Is it true that negative 2 times negative 12 is positive 24? Yes, it is. So I know that my answer checks out. Remember, I can always check my solution by plugging what I believe is the value back in for the variable. All right, now let's look at dividing. Now, again, we have to look at what operation is connected with our variable. Okay, so let's start with x over 2 equals 4. All right, class, what operation is connected to our variable here? It's division. So I have to do the opposite. I have to do the opposite. Oh, okay. I have to do the opposite in order to get my variable by itself. All right? So what do I need to multiply by in order to get this variable by itself? I need to multiply by 2. Hold on a second. Not quite. Let's stick here, okay? Now, we had to multiply by the reciprocal to get those to cross cancel. All right? So, cancel those. Now, whatever I do to one side, I must do to the other. So now, 4 times 2 is? 8. Is it true that 8 divided by 2 equals 4? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So, x would equal 8, and that's my final answer. All right, let's do another one just like it. Y over 3 equals 6. Y over 3 equals 6. Again, what operation is connected with my variable? Division. So what do I need to do to get rid of it? I need to multiply both sides by whatever is in my denominator, which in this case is 3. Cancel out my 3's. And Connor, y equals 18. Final answer. Now, I can check it by plugging it back in. Is it true that 18 divided by 3 is 6? Yes, it is. So it checks out. So, what is the key to remember here? I need to multiply by the reciprocal. All right. Now, example 3. In example 3, we're solving an equation using a reciprocal, all right? So very similar to example 2. Let's start off with negative 4 equals 2/3 x. Again, what operation is connected with my variable?
Division.
Multiplication, and I'm multiplying by a fraction. Okay, I'm multiplying by a fraction. So again, I need to, in order to get rid of my fraction, I need to multiply by the reciprocal. Does that mean the opposite sign though? Do I need to multiply by a negative? No. All I'm doing is flipping the fraction. Do not change the sign to a negative. That's not what I'm talking about. Okay? A couple people were making that mistake earlier today. So I multiply by the reciprocal, and that cancels everything down to 0?
1.
Down to 1. And does everybody agree 1x is the same thing as x, right? Okay, so we're on the same page. Now, remember, whatever I do to one side, I must do to the other. Now, this is a little bit weird how it looks. 3/2 times -4. You always have to have in the back of your mind that -4 is the same thing as -4 over 1. Okay, so if I'm multiplying these, I could multiply 3 times -4 and get -12. And divide by 2, or I could cross reduce. 2 down to 1 and -4 down to -2. You must keep your negative. Don't forget that you're multiplying a positive by a negative, which equals -6. -6. Do not forget that, okay? That will give you the wrong answer. All right? Yeah, let's do one more. Hold your questions just for another minute. Okay, let's do one more. Let's see. 4/5 x equals 1. 4/5 x equals 1. So what can I do here to get x by itself? Someone raise your hand and tell me, what can I do to get x by itself? Zion? Very good. Reciprocal of 4/5, which is 5/4. These cancel. Whatever I do to one side, I must do to the other. And 1 times 5/4 is just 5/4. And that's my answer.
X equals 5/4?
Mm-hmm.
All
All right. And that is
Is that 1 and 5/4? Is that